Right now, on To The Point. A councilman now facing federal charges. Tonight, the investigation into Sean Loloee and the reaction from former employees. Governor Newsom slamming counties in a progress report on the state's Care Court program, what he wants officials to do.
Rain moving across Northern California, how much we may be picking up.
And we hit the back roads, what the holidays were like during the Victorian era in Nevada City.
Good evening. This is To The Point. I'm Becca Habiger. Alex has the night off. First tonight, Sacramento City Councilmember Sean Loloee was arraigned in federal court just hours ago. Charges include fraud, falsifying records, and obstruction of justice. The charges come after 4 Viva supermarkets he owned were raided in October by the IRS, Homeland Security, and Department of the Treasury. Both Councilmember Loloee and his co-defendant, Carla Montoya, pleaded not guilty. Our Devin Truby was inside the courtroom and breaks down what happened.
Becca, Councilmember Sean Loloee entering the courtroom in handcuffs brought in by the U.S. Marshal. His co-defendant, Carla Montoya, not in cuffs, but a team of attorneys surrounding them, 3 for Loloee and 1 for Montoya. We spoke to one of those attorneys as they were exiting court, as well as asking Councilmember Loloee some questions.
I don't think that he's looking at quitting anything. I think there's a big fight coming.
Did you know Mrs. Montoya was using a false Social Security card that was said in the court documents?
Were you paying your employees under the table, or were you paying your employees for green checks, or were you paying them legit?
How do you feel about taking pandemic relief money for people in your community as a city council member?
Any comment, Sean? Any comment?
Why are you so quiet, dude? Speak up.
25 counts. Councilmember Sean Loloee and his co-defendant Carla Montoya, who works at Viva Supermarket, facing the first 19 together. The bulk of the charges are for possessing false immigration documents, also using false immigration documents, and for obstructing an investigation. Loloee also faces charges of wire fraud by receiving $1.2 million in pandemic relief money for his grocery stores. Court documents say he lied about the store's earnings in order to get more money. Loloee and Montoya faced a federal judge today, his attorney bringing up his job as a city council member. The judge granted bail and released him to his Granite Bay home. Loloee's attorney objected to Granite Bay being his primary address, saying he needed to use his Sacramento home to be close to council and the Viva grocery stores. The judge told him that was irrelevant. ABC 10 recently spoke to Loloee and asked him about the investigation. He denied any wrongdoing.
So I can tell you very clearly where is the camera that I can definitely look into it and answer. I can honestly say that every one of those accusations is a complete lie.
Defense attorney Mark Reichel sat in on the arraignment today as an observer.
For the federal government to come in and indict a sitting city council person using federal resources for that is a big deal. And so this had to have approval at the higher ups of the Justice Department. These are serious charges. They're hard to defend. I'm not saying they're not defendable.
Carla Montoya is accused of using a false permanent resident card and using the Social Security number of a person that died in 2007, and even telling employees where in Sacramento to get false documents made. The mayor's office released a statement in part saying the charges are very troubling. I talked with council member this morning and will be speaking with him throughout the day. He has a right to due process, and he has also an obligation to do the right thing by District 2 and the city. I expect the situation to be resolved within the next 24 hours.
Somebody with inside superior knowledge and, arguably an abuse of the public trust to take public money in this fashion.
Well, as you saw, Councilmember Loloee did not speak to us when he was exiting the court, but his office did release a statement saying he is shocked by what happened today, since he has worked tirelessly to, quote, help the underdeserved in his community with both his grocery store and as a city council member, and he will continue to do both as he fights these allegations. However, a special stipulation of their release is that Montoya and Loloee cannot speak to each other unless it's pre-approved or with their attorneys present. Becca.
Devin, thank you. We also spoke with those advocating for the alleged victims in this case, the Viva Supermarket's workers.
This is not okay. It's not okay anywhere, but we're not going to put up with it here in Sacramento. And you do have a voice and you do have rights as workers.
Ramona Landeros is with a local advocacy group called the Benito Juarez Association. She says she has helped some 20 Viva Supermarket employees come forward with their stories starting in 2016, all saying they've been mistreated by their employer, Sean Loloee.
We have witnessed the results of labor exploitation We demand an immediate resignation.
Maria Grijalva with the nonprofit Latino Information and Resource Center is also an advocate for the workers. She was among those who spoke during the public comment section of the November 14th Sacramento City Council meeting on behalf of the Viva supermarket workers and against Councilmember Loloee. She spoke less than 3 weeks after federal agents raided several of Loloee's grocery stores in late October in response to a U.S. Labor Department lawsuit alleging Loloee underpaid employees, interfered with federal investigations, and violated child labor laws.
In 2020, a group of Sean Loloee's employees came to the Central Labor Council to speak out about acts of wage theft, forced labor, human trafficking, child labor violations, and a litany of other horrific violations in his businesses.
You have insulted our people by oppressing them, taking their wages away from them, threatening them. You have to stop him. You have to stop that horrible, monstrous behavior against our community.
Again, Councilmember Sean Loloee and his co-defendant Carla Montoya have pleaded not guilty. Loloee is expected back in court on February 12th. New tonight, a former member of the Stockton Kings is behind bars. Chance Comanche was arrested today. The Sacramento County Sheriff's Office says they assisted in his arrest. Right now, it's unclear what the charges are that he faces. We're working to gather more information on the case. Comanche was drafted to play for the Stockton Kings last season. Now to the homeless crisis. Tonight, a new federal report says the United States has experienced a 12% increase in homelessness in just a year. It says soaring rents and a decrease in the pandemic aid has put housing out of reach for more people. According to a homeless count done back in January, about 653,000 people were homeless nationwide, the highest number since the country began using the yearly point-in-time survey in 2007. Within the rise, homelessness among individuals that is, rose by nearly 11%, among veterans by 7.4%, and among families with children by 15.5%. Sacramento County's point-in-time count, by the way, is scheduled for January 24th and 25th. The Sacramento Steps Forward and Sacramento Continuum of Care groups are looking for volunteers to help with this count. You can find more information on abc10.com. Today, Governor Gavin Newsom gave an update on how the Care Court program is working across the state. You may remember when the pilot program launched in a handful of counties back in October. It's the alternative mental health court that is used to treat people with severe mental health issues. Newsom says just a few days ago they launched the pilot program in an 8th county. Now, he points out while counties are succeeding in Care Court, he thinks there's a lack of urgency when it comes to conservatorship reform.
There's a crisis on the streets, and people are talking about delaying the conservatorship efforts till 2026. We can't afford to wait. The state has done its job. It's time for the counties to do their job.
The bill signed by Newsom to expand conservatorship laws is expected to take effect in 2024, but counties can postpone implementation until 2026. As for the Care Court pilot program, Newsom says there are plans to expand to more counties in the new year. Coming up on To the Point, a scandal centered around the Antioch Police Department heads before a judge. The latest from the courtroom.
Highs today were in the mid-60s, rather warm, but we'll be dropping off overnight into the mid-30s. Talk more about what to expect for the rest of your weekend, including when the next storm system is set to arrive.
And later, we hit the back roads in Nevada City for a glimpse at the holidays during the Victorian era.
We have carolers, we have chestnuts roasted on an open fire, we have folks all dressed up in Victorian attire.
Meteorologist Carly Gomez joins us. Carly, we have some storms in the forecast?
Yeah, we do. We're going to have a nice weekend, which is good. You can get your things done, do your shopping, clear the gutters maybe, and then expect that storm system to arrive on late Sunday night. Now, we are seeing some of the cloud coverage that moved over today starting to exit the area. We'll get some cool air moving in tonight and some mostly clear skies tomorrow with sunshine. But we did see warm temperatures today in the mid-60s. Now, the average this time of year is mid-50s. Now, we're looking at that low pressure system offshore and just kind of waiting for that to arrive. We'll, again, get clearing tomorrow. Then clouds roll in on Sunday with that rain starting to move in late on Sunday night. Take a look at our Futurecast radar by about midnight from Sunday into Monday. You're seeing the first look here at that front coming in with some showers starting to arrive. Then the heavier rain moving in throughout your Monday and then into Tuesday. Some scattered showers here and there. Snow beginning to form as well as we start to see some colder temperatures then. You're seeing most of that snow formation, though, happening mostly in the Yosemite area. Areas off South Lake Tahoe, as well as up toward Truckee, Donner. You're getting light snow. The system is very warm, so we'll see elevations around 7,000 to 8,000 feet. If we're lucky, may drop to 6,500, but otherwise, we're not seeing too much snow. We'll get a lot of moisture, though, moving into the valley. And take a look at this. The heavier rain really pushing toward the west side of the valley, as we'll see some of the heaviest totals there, adding up anywhere from 1 to even 3 inches when it's all said and done. Finally, getting into Christmas weekend, we're seeing partly cloudy skies, but there is a storm system in the Pacific Northwest. We'll have to wait and see whether or not that brings us a little bit of rain on that Monday. Now, the winds will be picking up out of the south, and as that system arrives on Monday, we'll be seeing them coming in about 25 miles per hour out of the southeast here. Just take a look at that. Strong system pushing in that rain as well as some of those strong winds. And again, with the rain totals, we'll see as much as maybe even a ½ inch to an inch, as much as 3 inches, again, on the west side of the valley toward areas along the coastline, seeing the heaviest rain with as much as maybe an inch for those foothills. Now, as we look at the 10-day forecast, low 60s pretty much the entirety of the week with that rain from Monday to Wednesday.
Thank you, Carly. Next on To the Point, a scandal involving the Antioch Police Department heads before a judge. New tonight, in a case centered around California's Racial Justice Act, a Contra Costa County Superior Court judge says he needs more time before issuing his ruling. The case, which has ties to the Antioch Police Department texting scandal, revolves around whether racial bias played a role in the arrests of 4 men and could mean reduced charges in their trial. Reporter Ansar Hassan has the latest from the courtroom.
A judge tells attorneys he wants more time to come to a decision in a case involving California's Racial Justice Act. It's in court because of the Antioch Police Department's racist texting scandal.
It indicates to me he's very thoughtful, he's very thorough. This is a groundbreaking case. The impact this is going to have statewide on police departments, it's appropriate that he decided to take more time.
Attorney Carmela Carmano represents Terrion Pugh, one of 4 young black men charged with murder and attempted murder in connection to a drive-by shooting. Court documents show Pugh was a direct target of the racist texts. In briefings she filed in the case, Carmano maintains that a blue wall of silence allowed these officers to engage in, quote, despicable conduct for years. She writes the officers deliberately used private cell phones to communicate in order to hide evidence of their improper and untrustworthy investigation from defendants and the courts. Their actions were done in order to obtain an otherwise unobtainable holding order in its circumstantial case against defendant Pugh.
This was ongoing while they were investigating the charges against our clients, while they were appearing in court and testifying, while they were writing sworn affidavits from which they omitted all of this evidence.
The defense is seeking legal remedies, including reduction of murder charges to manslaughter, the dismissal of all gang and firearm enhancements, and the striking of special circumstances, which carries life without the possibility of parole.
The credibility of many of these officers and detectives from Antioch Police in their conclusions about the case, their determinations that gang charges are warranted, their identifications of individuals in surveillance video, that's all tainted by their racial bias.
The prosecution declined to comment, stating they won't speak until the judge issues his ruling. The judge hopes to have a decision within the coming weeks. New information in the death of actor Matthew Perry. An autopsy report from the Los Angeles Medical Examiner says Perry died from acute effects of anesthetic ketamine. The coroner says Perry was reported to have ketamine infusion therapy to deal with depression and anxiety, and his last treatment was 1.5 weeks before his death. The report also says Perry drowned in the heated end of his pool, which was a secondary factor. Perry's death has been deemed an accident. A judge has awarded $148 million in damages to 2 former Georgia election workers in their defamation suit against former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani. They sued Giuliani for defamation over lies he spread about them in 2020, including racist threats and harassment. Giuliani had already been found liable in the case and previously conceded in court documents that he falsely accused the women of ballot fraud. He says he will appeal the ruling.
It's a busy time for people who need different health care plans. We all want to save on health care, of course, but that means scammers might show you offers that are too good to be true. Simone DeAlba verifies whether ads seen online are legit.
A viewer named Tim asked us whether he could trust ads that he saw that promised thousands of dollars in government subsidies. Here are two of the sites Tim came across. One promises a health benefits card with $1,400 a month for expenses like rent and groceries. The other says Americans will get a card with up to $6,400 for basic spending. We checked with several sources. There is a health insurance subsidy that's similar to what the second ad promises, but it's not bonus cash. The ACA provides subsidies for people who fall below certain income levels, but that's either paid straight to the insurance company or refunded to you after you pay your taxes. HHS, AARP, and GoodRx all warn that scams are common this time of year. They say if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And never give out personal information like your social security number or Medicare ID. One of the sites Tim asked about says its benefits will expire within 2 minutes, but if you refresh the page, the timer starts over. The FTC says scammers often try to create a false sense of urgency, so we can verify if you see an ad promising thousands of dollars in cash as a healthcare benefit, it's not legit.
Next, we hit the back roads to see what the holidays were like during the Victorian era. Buckle up, it's Friday, which means it's time for another journey on the back roads. Tonight, John Bartel takes us to Nevada City, where we see the holidays during the Victorian era.
This is what Nevada City, California looked like in the 1800s, a gold rush town full of Victorian-style homes and businesses. It was said back then that 10,000 people moved to the foothill city to profit off the gold-rich waters that ran through town. This is what Nevada City looks like today. The gold is mostly gone, but the buildings are still here, and every December, tens of thousands of people fill the streets during the annual Victorian Christmas celebration.
So we have carolers, we have chestnuts roasted on an open fire, we have folks all dressed up in Victorian attire.
The dress-up is a big part of the Victorian Christmas. It's not uncommon to see all sorts of historical characters roaming the streets. Characters like Jessica Prunion, who's promoting a play at the theater.
My character is Lily Lacroix, and Lily Lacroix is a French songstress who immigrated to the Gold Rush town in hopes to find a rich husband.
Other than dress-up, the 5-day event involves shutting down Broad Street, exploring the shopping opportunities, and embracing the holiday spirit however you see fit. And one spectacle you don't want to miss is the dance of the Icelandic elves. According to legend, they're normally invisible to humans.
So we come back a couple times a year here at Victorian Christmas to make sure that you humans are behaving yourselves, taking care and cleaning your water, being good to the environment.
Another fan favorite is the chestnut roaster. Never had a chestnut before? Well, here's your chance. The holiday nuts are free here.
Should it be tender? Oh yeah. Tastes like a sweet potato. Excuse me. It does.
Music is also a big part of Victorian Christmas. All throughout town, you'll see musical street performers like Ariel from The Little Mermaid, who walks around handing out candy.
I want to see them dancing.
There's even music inside. For one, I enjoyed the tunes played by this old Nickelodeon machine inside the Mountain Pastimes, which has been a family-run toy store for 35 years.
And it plays 35 instruments, got a couple thousand songs, and it's the only one in town.
Attracting business is the whole point of the celebration. When gold mining became less profitable, many people left town. Then in the 1970s, hippies and artists bought up the buildings in Nevada City and created Victorian Christmas to draw in tourists. As day turns into night, the town lights up, and that's when the warm adult beverages come out. Well, it's tough to know how gold miners in the 1800s celebrated the holiday season, but if you walk down the streets of Nevada City during the Victorian Christmas, you might get a pretty good idea. From Nevada City's Victorian Christmas, I'm John Bartel. Hope to see you on the back roads.
It's so much fun. They do such a great job every year transforming that town. This Sunday, by the way, is the last time you can check out the Victorian Christmas this year. It's happening from 1:30 to 6 Sunday in Nevada City's downtown historic district. And of course, if you have something in your town that would be a great road trip destination, let John know about it by texting your idea to 916-321-3310. Thank you so much for joining us on this Friday evening on To The Point. Hope you have a good night, and remember, the weather's going to be nice this weekend before it gets a little stormy, so enjoy this final holiday weekend with some nice mild weather. Take care.
Hey, it's Alex. Just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I really love hearing from everyone, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. Reach out to me on Facebook at AlexBellTV, or you can email me at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send me a text message at 916-321-3310.